Yo, it's your boy Fandom for Fandom channel, and well, welcome to this vlog. I guess it's just a mini one. I don't really have any videos after. I don't have another video planned. I've got the digital circuits, which will come out after this. Well, actually, it'll come out both at the same day. So there you go. But I thought I'd talk to you mates about something lately. This has been in my head for quite a while now, and I thought I'd make a video talking about it. So this year marks my 5th year since I've been a fan of the show My Little Pony. As you can see from up there with the Pinkie Pie is, you can see I have been a massive fan of the Bronies and the MLP stuff for 5 years. So June nearly 30th, which is my channel anniversary actually, for things. But I think around this time I started getting into the MLP stuff, so I guess I maybe should talk about too what my thoughts on MLP 5 years later. So, like I said, what do I think of, you know, the franchise and the fandom? I guess we could start off with the franchise. First of all, 5 years later, so I guess we can start off with the fact of how I got into the MLP stuff. I've talked about this in the past before, but I want to talk about it again in this video too. So, I got into MLP after I saw, okay, let's start even further back. I think before I started doing YouTube, and kind of explain to you how I've discovered MLP. I discovered MLP around 2013, maybe 2012, when MLP was starting to really take off. Around this point, I hated it. I hated all the colorful horses. I hated Pinkie. I hated every other character that you can see right here. I hated any of it. I hated anything to do with rainbow colors or anything like that, because I thought it was very girlyish and just very weird, and just as a boy, that was always the weird thing at the time. Now, you gotta realize too that this was 2013, 2014, around that time. So things around that time, especially not nowadays, were completely different than what it was back then. So it was more taboo back then, but it was start of something new. Now, this was around 2017, maybe earlier than that. I watched one episode of the show, and I really liked it. I honestly didn't mind, you know, MLP, or at least that episode of it. And now I don't know which episode it was, and I couldn't tell you which one it is. Even if I look at it now, I probably couldn't tell you which one it was. If I had to guess, I guess it was probably one of the later seasons where Twilight got her alicorns. I remember around season 5, maybe 6, maybe even 7 when the movie came out. It might have been around that time too when the movie was starting to come out too. That's probably when I've heard of MLP again. But this was more like a, this was more of a, I don't care about the franchise. Excuse me for bumping the microphone. This was more of a, for me, not caring about, you know, MLP that much, or My Little Pony at the time too. I didn't care for it. I didn't dislike it, but I didn't hate it. It was just, I don't care about it. So it was just there. I was into other things too. Like Frozen. This is also me when I was into that Frozen era too. So it would have been around this point I would have gone to the MLP stuff too. I'm into like this, not into, because not everything that I like is going to be like girlyish or that weird, you know, thing. Because I do like racing and all that stuff too. I just like MLP because it's like, I don't really consider girl stuff. I always liked about the plot and the stories and all that stuff too. That's why I consider, you know, good, if that makes sense. Like, I don't care about what age demographic, what gender demographics for. If the plot's good, then it's good. And that's always been, you know, my case around that too. But anyways, yeah, like I was saying, so like I wasn't into, like, I wouldn't care what gender or what age demographic it's for. If the plot's good, or like the story's good and the animation's good, then I'm going to say the animation for that type of content is good. Like Gravity Falls, for example, or The Owl House, or Amphibia, and all these shows. If it's a good show, then it's a good show. They know how to write these shows, and, you know, but that's besides the point. Like I said, I didn't care for it at the time. It wasn't until 2020, yes, when COVID happened, where things started to change a little bit for me personally. I was in a lockdown, and everything around COVID wasn't that good. Now, despite me having a really good year in that COVID year, especially when YouTube rise, for me, 2020 was just an okay year. I hated it because I couldn't see a lot of people that I really wanted to see, but it was also really good too because I made a lot of good content, and I also got into the new shows like MLP around that time too. And well, this is when I started getting into more like these types of shows. For example, how I got into MLP, we'll get to that in a minute. Excuse me for holding this. How I got into MLP was I saw a fan song of a cartoon. It was basically an Equestria Girls thing, and it was with Sonic. And it was one of the songs, Seven Rings in Hand, but some remixed it into like a Legend You Were Meant to Be type of song, and that's what you got. And it was amazing. So I liked it. I was like, where's this from? It's like, oh, okay. I didn't understand. I didn't understand where it was from, but now I get it. It's from Equestria Girls. Like, fair enough. They know how to make it really good. Then I saw one of the episodes for the very first time in a long time, and it was an Easter egg of Link from Zelda as a pony. And you probably know where the episode's from. It's from season 6, episode 11. I think that's the name of the episode. It was where Zephyr Breeze comes in for the first time. So there you go. But that was when I first saw that, and then I fell in love with MLP ever since. Holy hell, I started getting to the fandom. And the first MLP video that I ever did with the channel was called I Ran Out of Ideas. And well, around this time too, I actually ran out of ideas for videos. I didn't know what I was doing at the time, so I decided I'll just play some Flash games, and LP games was one of them. So I made a joking saying, are you mates Bronies or anything like that too? And well, yeah, now the rest is history. Then I did that reaction video of a timeline, which was good. Fun fact about that video, by the way, too, know that it's one of my most popular videos, but also you probably hear background music in the video. That was edited by me. That's not actually in the original video, because there was no music involved in it. It basically was just a bit of a, not boring video, but it just didn't fit the vibe of the video. So in editing, I decided, you know what, I'm going to put background music in the video just so you mates can actually, you know, have music in the background while you watch the video. It just makes it a bit more lively, if that makes sense, too. Which, I mean, that is one of my most performed videos I've ever done on the channel, so that was really good. That's when I really got into MLP too. So it was also around the time to my channel turned 30th too. I can actually look up the video 10 minutes when the video was actually uploaded too. But there you go. Yeah, the first video that I did was uploaded on June 30th, while the second one was uploaded on the 1st of July, so nearly 5 years ago. Yeah, actually, Jesus, yeah. By the time you see this video, it'll be nearly 5 years since I've uploaded those videos. Wow. Yep. And that was the first time I ever got into, like, that was the first time saying, like, an MLP timeline, just see what it was about. And yeah, and I really don't mind MLP, you know, nowadays. And when I did, I really, really liked it. It was just, like, one of the biggest things I've ever seen in my life. I did, unfortunately, get into the fandom after the show ended, but that means I could actually watch the whole thing without, you know, worrying about spoilers or upcoming stuff. But this is also starting to get to the point where the fandom was like, not the fandom, I'm speaking a lot, I'm sorry mates, but this is also starting to get to a point where the fandom was just like, yeah, the fandom was starting to get sad. BronyCon ended around this time too, is what I heard, around 2019, because of low attendance scores, because the fandom was in the fandom at the time was in a decline, not dead, because fandoms don't die, but it was in a decline. It was like a trend, if that makes sense. The trend was starting to lose its wheels. The train wagon, the wheels of the wagon was starting to fall off, if that makes sense. So unfortunately, I came in around that worst time. Doesn't matter though, because there was still a lot of MLP content creators still making content. I mean, one of the more popular ones, Storm FX, even though he has 3.something million subscribers, this guy still gets millions and millions of views. Like, not Mr. Beast level crazy, but just enough. And that's actually, like, ridiculous. So I can basically say in my own defense, the fandom's not dead. The fandom's not dead. It does have its issues, which we'll get to later on, but I don't think the fandom's dead, because no fandoms die. You just moved on, if that makes sense. I mean, I haven't moved on, obviously. I've been a fan for 5 years. So I haven't moved on, and I just started. There's still a lot of things I still want to do, part of the fandom, so still a lot of things, but I do focus on other fandoms too. That's not just MLP too, so like I said, I'm a YouTuber. I do multiple things, so whatever I like to do, then I'm going to do it that way, so is what it is. Let's move on to the franchise. What do I think of the MLP franchise 5 years later? Yep, surprise, surprise. I still think it's good. I still think Hasbro made a really good franchise they've made in the past. Like I said too, you gotta remember too, MLP at the time, back in the 80s, was at the time you could definitely say it was definitely a girls thing. Not a lot of men watched it at the time. Unlike nowadays too. Surprise, surprise. But like I said, you gotta remember too, like, when I watched the movie, that was definitely girlish. Then I watched Escape from Midnight Castle, whatever it's called. whatever's on screen you can see at the moment, I did react to it. It was definitely around that time. It was definitely around that time too. LP was still very new at the time too. It wasn't that very popular. Then we had, that was the first generation of it too. That's the one that we had Megan and all that stuff on there too. And that was a weird time. That's another thing too. I really want to do more reaction videos to Gen 1 to see what it's like, because I thought it was interesting. Then you had Generation 2. Well, okay, Generation 1.5 is what I call it, but it's still Generation 1. People call it Generation 2 because like it's a different show, but according to Hasbro and according to everything else, it's still linked to Generation 1. So I just call it 1.5. Generation 2 because it's a continuation of Generation 1. And I think some of the actresses on there too are now actually in Generation 4 ponies. I think Kelly Sheridan, who voices Starlight Glimmer, actually appeared in Generation 1. So that's a little something for you. There you go. Yeah, I forgot. I think it was My Little Pony Tell Your Tales, something like that. I think I've got a DVD of it. I wonder if I can actually bring it down now. If I can find it, I'll come back down if it's not. Give me a minute, mate, and I can maybe tell you, see if I can still find it. This is basically what I have. Excuse the lighting, but there you go. This is what I basically have at the moment. It's the My Little Pony Tell Your Tales DVD Volume 2. Or it says Volume 2. If I actually open up the DVD, it's actually not Volume 2. It's actually Volume 4. They gave me the wrong disc. So I got to find Volume 2 on that one. But there you go. I do have an old Generation 1 ponies. And I actually did watch this, by the way, too. I thought it's okay. It's okay. Like, it's just a standard Saturday cartoon. It's actually shown on Disney Channel as well, of all things. So there you go. So that was Generation 2 of ponies. Then we've had Generation 3 of ponies, which is, I think, in my opinion, apart from Generation 4 and 5, that might be the more famous one. Maybe. It was the first one to include Rainbow Dash and Pinkie Pie before they became actual Pinkie Pie. I think Pinkie Pie was the same as Pinkie Pie. Not the fourth wall breaking pony, but definitely the Pinkie Pie that we know today, like the one that throws parties. Rainbow Dash was a Earth pony, not a Pegasus. And then we got like Applejack and all that stuff. Applejack also appeared in Generation 1 too, but not the American type. Just Applejack, and only one thing, and that was it. Then you never see her again. Which is kind of a shame. She basically was a background pony before people made the joke, so there you go. But Generation 3 included Scootaloo, Sweetie Belle, Pinkie Pie, Rainbow Dash. Like a lot of these characters you'd see now in MLP Generation 4. But they did appear in the previous generation. In fact, yeah, which is just something, I guess. I kind of like that though, you know, in a way too. And I did see, I wouldn't want to react to more G3 content. I just want to see what it's like. It used to be on Stan at one point too. Like, if you don't know Stan, and for American viewers, it's basically like streaming service. It used to be on Stan for a bit, but now it's not. I don't know if it still is. I have to check that. And if it is on Stan, I'll just put a thing in the text thing so you can see if it's Steam. If it's not on Stan, sorry, Stan, not Steam. But if there's a text saying it's not on Stan, then it's not on Stan, and I'm sorry, but oh well, it's what it is. But it might still be on Stan, and I might have a look at it. Then we had Generation 3.5, which was another last minute thing. That was also around the same time too, as Generation 4 was starting to become new. In fact, around that same year, we had a tech demo came out too, and that was basically Generation 4 ponies, but different styles. And this came out 2009, I think just before 3.5 dropped too. So we were going to get a new generation the next year, and that was 2010. That's when I was in kindergarten. This is probably when I've heard of MLP. Because, like I said, I'm a Gen Zer, so I never really looked at the old generation. So that's why when I heard of MLP, it most likely would have been Generation 4. Whilst my parents, my other family members probably have heard of it from previous generations because they're from the 70s. So there you go. And that's the generation that I really like, and surprise, most people like. And that's when the fandom came along. And then Generation 5. Yup. Generation 5 for the Generation 4. Or then it was Generation 4.5, which was Pony Life. And then we had the Equestria Girls in between that too. There was a lot. There's a lot. And then Generation 5 came along. And this is where my stance on MLP starts to change a little bit. I still think MLP as a franchise is still really, really good. For those of you who want to get into cartoons, I really recommend Generation 4. I say this for most people. It's not everyone's recommendation because it does have that style. But not everyone likes the style, and that's fair enough. That is your own opinion. That is your own... you're valid for that. That is your own preference. I'm not going to attack you for that or anything like that. No one's going to do that though. And if anyone's doing it, then they don't know what they're talking about. I don't care what you like. You know, like if you don't like MLP, more power to you. I know there are a lot of people who are some of my friends don't like MLP, and that's fair. I enjoy it because I don't mind it. I like the style for it. I thought it was really amazing, and I still do like it to this day, you know, so, and there's nothing wrong with not liking a franchise, you know. I like MLP because of that reason. I know a lot of people don't like it, and I have no complaints for people who don't like it. I will say this though, there's been a lot of stuff lately going on too. There's been a lot of people who obviously hate the fan base but still attack people for it. I'm like, mates, if you don't care for it, what are you doing? Just go like your own thing or something like that. No one cares if you don't like it or not. Same people who like it too, like, cool, you mates like it, is what it is. More power to you. I said this, more power to you. It's always been the case. But this also brings me to the next point too, the fandom. Now, I'll admit something. I've always had mixed feelings about the fandom because on one hand, they make good things, but on the other hand, it can get toxic and it can get too much. My friend thinks this, and I don't think it this way anymore. I think when I went to BabsCon, my opinions definitely started to change a little bit too. I think when you start doing fandom, when you start making mates like this, yeah, it's going to change. My opinions on it definitely going to change a little bit. I do think the fandom has its issues. I do think that fandom needs to, you know, control itself sometimes and realize too that, like, mates, this is a show for everybody. We need to stop attacking it. Stop being weird about it. Well, okay, weird is not a bad thing, but stop being creepy and stop being disgusting about it and just realize and go, okay, this is a fandom. We got to be nice to each other, you know? Obviously, not everyone's going to be like this, of course, but I'm just reminding everyone, remember, this is a show for everybody. I'm grateful that the fandom exists for this. But just remember, this was a show that was meant for, I guess, little kids. This is a children's show first and foremost. So you got to respect that in a way. And I guess that's probably my own thoughts about it too. It's just, that's just how I see it, you know. And I've always had to call them up, but people still get toxic about it. And again, I can't control those people. Those people can do whatever they want. If they get in trouble because people don't like it, then that's what's going to happen. People are going to get in trouble because they don't like hearing it. And that's valid. People are allowed to, you know, be like that. But a lot of people in the fandom are really good people, and I know this. I know the last few years lately, especially 2 years ago, we did have a really bad situation with a certain person who we're not going to be bringing up on the channel. But if you ignore the bad people in the fandom, it's chill. It's chill. It's a nice fandom. People are just nice to each other, you know, is what it is. At least from my experience anyways. Maybe some people had experience who maybe have, you know, bad experiences, but from my experience, not really. I had a genuinely good time with the fandom, and I guess when I went to the LP convention, which I still bring up by the way too, because genuinely, I loved BabsCon. I know I can maybe explain the video about what BabsCon did. Basically, BabsCon fired a person who actually worked there for no reason, and which was a bit shitty. Shout out Pinkaboo, by the way, too. Pinkaboo was actually the person working there too, and she got fired for no reason because BabsCon was absolutely stupid. So, and then all the musicians who were going to play at BabsCon boycotted BabsCon and went to a different thing, which was actually in the video too. So that's basically why BabsCon failed, at the end at least. Now BabsCon no longer exists, at least on the Discord. The Discord server still exists, but that's it. Like, but that's it. BabsCon's not coming back to San Francisco anytime soon, so it's dead in the water. Which is a shame because it was the first and only BabsCon I've ever gone to. It's my first ever MLP convention I ever went to, and I really, like I said, I enjoyed every little minute of it. It was almost perfect. If Pinkapoo wasn't fired, it'd probably be one of the best conventions I ever went to. And yeah, it was just, yeah, you always have to give respect to that too. And I enjoyed it. I know a lot of people enjoyed it too. And it was just an awesome time. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. But this is basically means fun. I think the fandom's good, but it's not perfect. No fandom is perfect. That's why one of the reasons too why when I was in the Smash Bros fandom, I did leave Smash Bros for that particular reason, but I probably could go back to Smash Bros. In fact, I might do that this year as like a channel anniversary thing. I don't know if I'll make any more videos on Smash Bros. Because it's Smash Bros. It's just the same thing. Unless I put a challenge on it, but even still, it's just the same thing. So I don't know if I'll make another video on Smash Bros. Again, but I definitely would go back to it. I'll make one more video probably this year as like a nostalgia trip for it. But I don't know if I'll make a video again of Smash Bros. Anytime soon, but that was probably the reason too why I left Smash Bros. 2. The fandom was toxic. and that too, like really, really badly toxic. But then you can also argue too that if you ignore it, but then I don't know. But then when you make content on videos too, it's just the same thing too. Like, cause I'm making content about One Piece, and I guess I am part of the fandom if I'm making content of it too. So I don't know. The way I see it, live your life how you want to live your life. You know, I don't care if you want to join the fandom, go ahead. I don't care. Join the fandom. I know people always have the issues and go like, oh, but why this person joined the fandom? Then, oh, that means going to be a bad person. No, not necessarily. In fact, it reminded me of that person who was on a Discord server who said you have to be a casual fan of a show. I'm like, no, you don't have to be a casual fan. If you're a big fan of something, then be a big fan of it. Like, who cares? Like, that's the thing I always say too. Who genuinely cares at this point? But I don't know. I enjoy the fandom, I guess, because I guess people are just so lovely to each other, you know, and I have made mates who are from the US now, who actually are my mates now. So it's just awesome for being part of a fandom that was meant for little girls. And you know, and when I say little girls, I do it as a jokingly. I never thought MLP, or nowadays, I don't think MLP is just made for girls. It's targeted, but I never say it's for girls. It's for everybody. It's a family. It's a cartoon. It's a cartoon. Same with Powerpuff Girls, same with Steven Universe, same with The Air House, same with Amphibia. They're kids' family shows, but they're not for a specific gender. And I kind of hate when people still think that to this day. I just think that's just stupid. I think it's just backwards. But yeah, that's basically my thoughts on the whole MLP fandom. MLP as a franchise is still good. I still love it to this day. I still got a lot of years left in me for liking it. There might be a time I might lose interest in it, but not for a very long time. Probably not for, I don't know about forever, but for a while, I'm not going to lose interest. And like I said, I'll get into other fandoms too. I really want to get into Spy X Family and all that stuff too. And I've also got Persona 2, which I got to finish too. And I'm sorry, mates, I really didn't want to finish Persona. I might start editing that tomorrow maybe and just try and get Persona 5 finished, and then we can done with Persona for a while. But that too. But I do, like I said, I'm into other stuff too. That's not just Persona, like not just MLP. Like so too. It's just at the time I was a very MLP fanboy, and I guess I am still a MLP fanboy. Well, I'm a big fan of lots of things. Like a lot of people, I'm big fans of a lot of things, and that's not a bad thing per se. But yeah. Alright mates, this video's gone on for quite a while now. My camera's got to lose its recording in about half an hour, so I'm going to end it here now. So thank you mates for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you enjoyed this video, definitely give this video a preferred like, comment, in the future. And I'll see you mates next time. Bye!